So should men and women train at separate gyms? Now, I was talking to someone about this the other day in regard to just the temptation side of things that we have to deal with on a daily basis. I'm not going to get into the online temptation. I'm going to stick with it just in regard to gyms and clothing. And with this new trend that I guess is going on with a lot of women recording themselves in gyms for their Instagram or for their, YouTube or whatever. And then there's this, thing where they're like, and then look at this guy over here checking me out and stuff like that. And I go, in my head, I go, it's like putting crack cocaine right in front of a crack cocaine addict and being like, hey, don't look at it. Don't use it. Men naturally have this urge to look. And yes, we should avert our eyes. Yes, we shouldn't be goggling at women. But what I'm saying is the clothing that women wear and the clothing that's fashionable today leaves nothing up for the imagination. And so if you have what we want, okay, in regard to a body, which a lot of women do, it's very, very, very hard. So this brings me to the infidelity side of things, where the temptation side, it's there. And so I go, if we continue on like this, if women continue dressing like this. So I was having the conversation with a woman and she said, I feel so much better working out in those types of clothing because it moves better. When I move, it doesn't like chafe against and stuff. And it's like, it feels much more comfortable. And like, I get that. And then at the same time, she's like, I don't also want to look like a weirdo at a gym. Like, I don't want to wear some like trash bag while I'm working out. I want to look cute. And I also want to feel good. And I go, yeah, I get it. Everyone's wearing this, how it goes. And some women take it, their clothing to the extreme. But what I'm saying is even if you are fully clothed, but at that tight, form-fitting clothing, it leaves nothing up for our imagination. And with guys, we're genetically hardwired to look. We just are. We're visual, and we're looking for certain physical traits that mean that we're going to have success in regard to procreating and getting our genes to survive. Right? It's just simple, I guess you could call it biology, where we have certain things that we're looking for. So in regard to infidelity, I think, in my opinion, and I want to talk about this in another video, but again, I want to stick to just the gym stuff today. The infidelity comes in when we have those temptations. I know we should be averting our eyes. I know we shouldn't be talking to other people, but when you have those weak moments, like I was saying with the crack addict, if I have a weak moment, let's just say I'm in recovery and I'm doing well and I don't want to drink and I don't want to use, and you put a bunch of bottles of alcohol and you put cocaine in front of me. If I have a weak moment where I'm not feeling good and I'm not feeling confident, or I'm feeling in this state of like, I need something outside to stimulate myself, and you put that in front of me, there's no guarantee that I'm going to use. There's no guarantee that, yes, that's going to happen, but it's going to make it a lot easier if it's in front of me or if it's not in front of me. It's a simple thing. If the temptation is in front of me, there's a chance that I could pick it up and use it. If the temptation to cheat on my spouse is in front of me, if there's something pulling me, the chance is there. Whether or not I should take it is a different conversation. Of course we shouldn't, right? But the temptation's there. It's around us at all times. When I have those weak moments and I become a weak person, or I decide to act on those thoughts, it's there. Whereas I was just thinking to myself, well, what if we had men and women only gyms? And we didn't have that. None of these women would have these problems of some person Googling at them. Well, I guess they would get mad at people who are gay. They would then I guess that would be the thing. So at the end of the day, people are going to complain that people are going to complain. But I was thinking about men and women. And I was like, well, maybe that's not the best thing, because what if I'm single and I'm going to the gym and I want to find someone, right? And I want to see what they look like, and maybe working out and exercise is a common thing that we have this commonality And that's a great thing for us to connect on. Other than just a physical thing, it's like, yeah, I find this person attractive, but they also go to the gym. Whereas I can find attractive people anywhere. But there's this thing that we have in common, and maybe our relationship would be better. So I thought then, when this idea just came to me, was, well, what if we had men and women only gyms, but you were married? So you had a gym that you go to, okay, but they're on one side, or they're separate locations. One is for men who are married, and one is for women who are married. And because men and women who are married, the temptation, right, to talk to someone else shouldn't be dangled in front of them. That's just my opinion. I think, like I said, the chances of infidelity go way down if you don't dangle something in front of someone, if you don't have the temptation. But then you have single gyms where people who are single, they can sign up and they go to the gym. And then once they either get into, well, that's the other thing is like, well, what's the line of, can you get to the married separate gyms if you're just dating, if you're not actually married? So I don't know. I was just thinking about it today, and I thought to myself, with the infidelity side of things, with temptation, I believe that we're going to continue to have a lot of problems in our Western world just because of the way that we dress and the way that we expose ourselves, especially online. But in person, I mean, the physical contact, the ability for you to go up to someone and talk to them, it happens all the time. And I know that some women feel very uncomfortable. Some women online, right, talk about the people checking them out. But then there's countless stories of people, yeah, this guy, I go to the gym and he constantly hits on me, blah, blah, blah. And I'm telling them, it's like, look, it's like, this is just how we are. Like, we're gonna, we're gonna try. And with married men too. And they're like, I know that this guy's married. And I go, I understand, but this is just, our mindset. And I think if the temptation wasn't there, that guy would never have that opportunity to do that. Now he's going to go out, and like I said, in many other areas of life, if he wants to cheat and he wants to do that, he's going to find opportunities. But I'm saying in regards to the gym, I don't know if it's not a bad idea if we don't have some more separation or look at those things a little bit more, because I just see it all the time. I see that it's hard to look away, and it's hard to live our life at least my life, when my genetics and everything about my biology is geared towards one way and I'm supposed to act another way. Yes, I should be strong, but what happens in those weak moments? What happens when I don't care anymore, or I want to act those things out, or she wants to act those things out, let's just say? It's like, the lines get blurry really, really quickly. And I was just throwing that out there. It was just an idea that I had. I think that we're going to struggle with this infidelity thing. And I think that relationships are going to get harder and harder, not just because of the access that we have to one another online, but also because of the way that we dress. And it's just what's popular. Like, drive by a high school, right? Like, I thought it was bad when I went to high school. It's getting worse every single year. It's crazy to think about. And I think a lot of that is geared towards the online culture, right? Where women are competing really with like porn stars, right? The way that they dress and the way that they do other, sexual things, porn stars and OnlyFans and all of this. It's tough to be, a young girl, and it's tough to live with that as a young guy. But at any age, right? You see these things, like I said, at gyms. It doesn't matter what age, you have these temptations going on. It's in front of you. So what do we do? How do we minimize those things if we want marriages and things to stay together? I would think that we want to start taking a look at some of those aspects of our everyday life. And maybe one of those ideas would be that we have separate gyms. I don't know. I know there used to be a gym by me called Total Woman, and it was a women's only gym. And I think that I was thinking back and I was like, oh yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. Now there's always going to be problems at any gym that you go to, but I was just thinking that in regard to the infidelity side of things, would that decrease the likelihood? I know for a fact, if there were no women around in the gym that I was going to, there wouldn't be a chance for me to, again, ruin a marriage or break up my own marriage. Let's just say if I was married. So I think that that's something to look at, and I don't know, maybe that's something that we start considering in the future. But I also thought of, hey, maybe a singles gym. It's like, hey, it's a singles gym where people, instead of people being so upset that people are looking at each other, it's like kind of expected. Now, the other thing that I'll finish with is, like I said, if women have this expectation that they're going to wear the clothes that they wear and men aren't going to look at them, I think it's kind of ridiculous. And there's a lot of things that people are going to say, well, it really depends on the guy looking. If they fancy the guy that's looking, it's not a problem. Whereas if they don't, he's a creep. And I get that. I completely understand that. But what I'm saying is you have to take some responsibility for the fact that you're wearing clothes that we have literally all of our biology geared towards checking that out. Like, it turns us on again and again and again. It doesn't matter if we're 13 or 83, we're still going to be attracted to that. So if you don't want that to happen, maybe considering looking at separating people in gyms. Maybe that might be a way that solves these problems. Now, some women don't want that. And I go, hey, where do we have the space for them? I also know tons of people who are married and can control themselves. So I don't know what the answer is. I don't know if it's just we need to put men through training and women through training and they need to do this. I still think those physiological, biological, genetic levels are still going to come through. And especially when all the training in the world doesn't mean that you're not going to have a weak day here or there. And what happens on those weekdays? Maybe you just say, screw it, right? I don't know. I know you shouldn't, but that's reality, and that's the reality we live in. So just some ideas that I wanted to throw out there. Just something was on my mind. And what do you think? Have you been to an all women's gym? Are there all men's gym? I don't know. I don't know if these things exist. I know that there were, but that gym closed down. So maybe it's not a financial, it's not a good investment. I don't know, but I'm looking at these things and I thought, if we really care about each other and we want marriages to last, maybe that might be a way that we go after it. Now, the other thing is I don't know what the statistics are on infidelity in gyms, but I know it's not zero. Okay, I can tell you that for a fact. So anyways, just had some thoughts on that, and until next time, I'll see you then.